Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining in to Corporate Coffee. We come back with another special guest. I would like to welcome Jalal. Thank you so much for coming
Assalamu
in.
alaikum. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in, and thank you for taking out the time. For somebody like you, taking out this amount of time for me to ask you anything I can today.
I'm on holiday, so you have.
Yeah, even more so. So you're not in your absolute HR bulb mode, but while you still are so integrated into the system, and you have been there for over, I would say, 10
years at EFU Life now.
10
yes.
years at EFU Life, and serving as a consultant with...
yeah, for another 10, 12 years.
Another 10, 12. So somebody as experienced and rich, I have the liberty of asking you, and somebody as learned and intellectual, people who know you will definitely be nodding their heads. Yes, yes, we know, we know. So my question to you today, that one question I have for you, somebody in your position and in this AI era, will the current HR practices and structure still be relevant for your generations to come as new talent?
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I took liberty of asking on the spot. Thank you, because I needed that expression.
All right. It's time to get a little hypothetical. It's time to get a little speculative, because they say only a fool tries to predict the future. So let's look into our crystal balls and be fools for 1 second. No. In the shortest possible terms, I do not see how current HR structures can continue if you want to have an effective, modern, future-friendly HR going forward. But to expand further upon my answer, let's get certain foundational elements right.
Okay.
The operational to strategic handshake and the bridge between the two, and translating organizational objectives into HR parlance and then communicating them across the organization and then enacting policies, projects, programs, etc. to deliver on them, that doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
HR will always remain the custodian of the organizational culture. Why? Because as long as you have two people together trying to work together on one project, you will need someone from HR to be there to mediate between the two. That's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's been that way forever.
Okay.
The foundational agreement and relationship between the employer and the employee is also not going anywhere.
Okay.
So the organization will promise salary, benefits, environment, capacity enhancement and experience, and professional development, and the employee, in consideration of what that employee is being provided, will provide their time, their labor, their skill set, their talent.
Okay.
So these, and the organization will, and underpinning all of this is the concept of accountability.
Okay.
All of that is not going anywhere.
All right. So that's the foundation.
That's the foundation.
All right.
HR structures are built on top of that. Now, what do we mean by HR structures? Like, I should be asking you. You asked me the question. Okay. So HR structures could be organizational structure. How is HR structured? The strategic HR framework, the policies, procedures, and practices.
Yeah.
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 What is HR for HR? That element, that I don't see lasting very long. Like, for example, the HR models that are currently in vogue, say, now globally, the HR model is shifting away from the HRBP model, becoming more hybridized. But in Pakistan, the HRBP model is king. I personally think that the HRBP model should, how colorful can I get?
Just viewer friendly and PG-12.
I think the HRBP model is insufficient.
Okay, that's a nice one to go.
And ineffective.
Okay.
It has been for a long time. The hybridized model is better. There are other frameworks you can look at, Agile, for example, that you can look at, that I think do a better job at enabling HR to deliver on its strategic and operational objectives than the HRBP model. The HRBP model is just HR farming off its real work to somebody else. So I do not like
That's an ouch factor for many, yeah?
I do not like the HRBP model. I do not think it is an effective model today, let alone for the future. Now, why does HR need to change? There are certain events happening in the world today that are being adopted inside Pakistan that I view as existential to HR. Now, I'm not going to, by that, I don't mean that HR will cease to exist. HR will not cease to exist. Maybe when our robot overlords fully take over the planet, then yes, HR will cease to exist because there's no human beings in the workforce. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Number one, there is on the planet an established trend for sustainability, which folds DE&I into it.
Yes.
It's quite mature globally. It's very nascent in Pakistan. SECP's regulations came out last year. Yes, there were some organizations in Pakistan who were well ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
But for the rest of, say,
that's a topic, that's
Pakistan,
a discussion I want to have another day with you.
Another day. Yeah. In fact, Disney has just announced, I was looking at a report this morning, I forget where it was, but Disney has now stopped doing DE&I reporting.
Why? Okay, that's a discussion. Okay, now you left me on a hook. All right. For that, I'll come back.
Just a tidbit.
I will take your brain in your office.
Well, you know where I stand on DE&I.
Yeah,
I think it's very well intentioned, but I think it's, and that's my point.
Yeah, that's it.
I think DE&I is very well intentioned. I believe its goals are noble. I support its goals. Its methodologies I find horrendous. I find them abhorrent. And we've had that conversation.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
But now globally, we're seeing that as it's become operationalized, we're seeing some real innovation, especially coming out of Europe, in having true diversity, equity, and inclusivity in our organizations. And those are some role models that we can actually sit down and talk about. So that's not going anywhere. Neither is sustainability. The understanding that organizations, not just as modes of organizing human effort, but as custodians of large resources that can have real, true, lasting social and environmental impact, I think is a notion that is here to stay. And now, how do you build truly diverse, truly inclusive, truly sustainable organizations? Either what's happening is it gets handed over to your sustainability team, or it gets handed over to the HR team. But it's not. It's an organizational initiative. It's a mind shift. Change. HR as the custodian of the culture and the practices of the organization needs to be the facilitator of those changes and have the tools, the programs, and the initiatives in place that facilitate.
Absolutely.
And manage that change. What sort of an HR department does that? We don't have the structures for it right now. What are the organizational structures typically found in an HR department? You got your BP, you got your backend, you got your ops, you got your L&D team, your OD team, your TA team, your comp and ben team.
And rewards.
Yeah, rewards. Your total rewards team. Yeah, that's it. Now tell me where, say, a complete organizational shift towards following sustainability objectives beyond eyewash, but truly being a sustainable organization and looking to have a meaningful impact on the world and the society that you are in beyond your bottom line. That's going to be difficult. That's your first key challenge, number one. Number two, a lot of HR, and no HR head ever talks about this, but the worm at the core of HR, that dirty little secret is that 90% of HR's labor is bureaucratic.
Yes, it is.
But guess what's going to kill that bureaucracy?
The new talent?
AI.
AI. Oh, yeah.
Because it's bureaucratic. It's pushing papers.
Of course.
It's pushing papers. It's just following the process, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have had a line of HR technologists banging on my door, demoing their AI models and their systems for me recently. And yes, a lot of organizations in Pakistan are now implementing, but they're implementing at a very operational level. It's either at the assessment stage, whether it's most primarily on the TA side, on the talent acquisition side. We will assess your CV, we'll do your psychometric, we'll run your games for you, da, 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 da. Or it's, oh, well, here's a chatbot. It's sitting on top of your HR manual. Get your employees to talk to the chatbot. Don't bother HR. Or we'll take care of your onboarding. Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's how the market is immediately responding to AI. But the potential, like where AI can have a real, true, meaningful impact. Yes, it'll take care of this bureaucracy for you. So that little worm at the core of it is gone. So what do you do with the 10, 20 small army that you have sitting on top of your HR ops? Where do their jobs go? Do you need an HR ops anymore? Interesting, right? Then, how does AI impact the real questions that organizations will be needing HR to deal with? How do you deal with the generation that's coming in that's already here? It started with the millennials, but now you've got Gen Z that is very values driven. That is looking for more impact upon, for organizations to have a really true, meaningful impact upon themselves, not just as professionals, but on their well-being.
Yes.
And on their career progressions and impact.
And rightly so. And rightly so.
Right? This is where they will spend the majority of their lives.
Yeah.
What sort of HR structures do you need? Now, those things tend to be programmatically driven, which means they either it's an ongoing program, or it's a mini project that has a definitive start and end. Right? So what sort of structures do you need to really start building that? Not to mention then sustainability. So you have these existential pressures. None of this is going away. It's going to become more acute. And HR structures right now, as they exist, are not aligned to meet these challenges. They're just not. That's just not the way we do HR. Hybrid models, maybe. Agile frameworks, possibly.
Agile frameworks will.
The philosophy.
Yeah.
The philosophy.
Okay, yeah, just the philosophy,
just the intent. The
not
philosophy.
The acting out part. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, in all of this, I am saying that the foundations, the fundamentals that I laid out, those are all there. All of this is being built now on top of it.
Yeah.
So do I think we need to tear down HR and build a new building on top of it? No, but we definitely need to rethink the way we do HR. So, and it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. Now, as I said, this is very hypothetical, very woolly, very, looking and gazing into the mists of time and trying to forecast the future in the crystal ball type thinking. But this is where my head is at. In EFU Life, also,
Yes.
as you may know, we do not follow traditional HR structures. We don't. And that's also why, because we found them to be so rigid. It really impacts our ability to deliver. EFU Life as an organization is very healthily dynamic. We're constantly doing new things, and some of them tend to be very strategic.
Disneyland, because you out of the conformity box. It is not conformed, and people like you, leaders like you, should have, there should be some kind of a voice that needs to be out there to tell or make other people aware what worked then will not work now, and how using AI, having the Gen Zs coming up, the foundation is there for a very, very, it's like the spine of the organization, right? HR. It's people. Your organization comprises of people. How do you make things relevant to this day and age is something I would, before we get into anything else, but one message that you have to make these things, for the leaders out there, for people out there, what is that one thing that you would want to tell them how to help this transition to what you just said?
You have to understand the transition. And I think you used the keyword there, relevance. And there's AI, and then you've got generational and social pressures coming in. 5 years ago, as we were just talking outside, pre-COVID, having a hybrid or a remote workforce was considered, oh wow, luxury. You're very avant-garde as as an organization, or you must be a multinational. Today, it's common.
It's common sense.
It's common.
Yes.
People ask you in career fairs, they ask you in interviews, what's a remote working policy? It's 5 years ago, this was unthinkable.
Yeah, it was.
Today, it's common, right? And now we're dealing with the HR practices and the policies and the cultures and the management frameworks and the management styles necessary to manage a hybridized workforce. Because you can't manage a remote worker or a hybridized worker the way you manage a full-time, physically present on-the-job guy. Very different needs. Same thing with AI. AI is going to move away from, because it's the low-hanging fruit, the TA. It's going to move onto and start providing real data and input on the talent management and the talent development side.
And
it's growing at the rate at which, OpenAI has a new model almost every year.
okay.
Right now, if you take a look at the agentic frameworks that are out there, they're not fully there yet. A lot of it is quite hallucinatory.
How would you advise this?
But it's coming. I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. In order for me to answer that question, you have to understand the nature of the change.
All right.
But it's coming. The future of AI applications in HR where real value will start coming out isn't just data and analytics or even predictive analytics. It's on the talent management side. What sort of an HR department then ends up looking like that? What does an HR department look like that actually then is using these tools and addressing the needs, not just of Gen Z, but the generation that's coming up next and the generation that's coming up next? Okay, this is what sort of skill set, what sort of structures, what sort of people do you need? Well, number one, the structure has to be fluid. Pods, I'm thinking pods. You don't have functions, you don't have structures, you have pods. And now that pod could be semi-permanent, or it could just be ephemeral.
Like a Scrum and, yeah.
And then you're out. You call it Scrum, you call it a pod, you call it whatever. And what's inside that pod is maybe someone that is an HR technician. Then you have someone that is looking at whatever organizational issue, initiative, program that you're dealing with, but is looking at it from a sustainability and a DE&I perspective. Then you have someone that is looking at it from a talent management perspective, right? And then you have someone maybe who's looking at it from an employee experience and an employee engagement perspective. And this pod then focuses on that program. Right? Because policy administration and HR ops, etc., the AI is taking it over. It's learning really quickly. It maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, yeah, maybe not. But the way and how easy low-code, no-code agentic frameworks are coming up, and the AI models behind them that are, whether you're running a neural net, sitting on top of your entire CV database, or your entire employee database, or you're using an LLM, all of that is maturing shockingly quickly. So what sort of an HR, that's something like that I'm thinking. Now, how do you get an HR department that's used to its rigid silos and its core functions to move to a pod?
I really like the pod. When am I seeing it? That's my question. And we will continue this part of the question when I come to your office to pick your brain on many things, but this one especially.
Yeah.
Because you have always been the person I have seen who's actually created that transformation, who does not have a very conventional HR system.
No.
Being in one of the oldest insurance companies of Pakistan, where your floor, as I said, is like considered as Disneyland. Somebody as having a consultant background,
Disneyland.
coming into this and, the entire thing together and being how you can make it better. I wish, your voice can go and reach many more. And people can actually, so then I know which pod to go to when I come and see you next.
So can you imagine that you don't have teams, or you don't have structures, you don't have sub-departments or sections?
I will use them.
Oh, good. So I'm throwing it out there. Yeah. Let's get people thinking about this.
Of course.
So, like I said, not agile, but the philosophy of agile.
Yes, absolutely.
So now and you're taking a very holistic view from multiple perspectives on one issue.
Yeah.
Now that issue could be anything from, say, your compensation frameworks, or designing a wellness program or initiatives, or ensuring a consistently rewarding, not just financially, but also personally and professionally rewarding employee life cycle.
That's going to be absolutely great, and I look forward to that. But thank you so much for taking out the time, coming and seeing me, and coming on.
Oh, I've got much more that I can talk
I
about
know,
that, but
I know this was not even
this is just me speculating about the
this was
future.
just we're going to get down the iceberg much more, but for that I will ask you. I will come. And
Yeah, yeah.
I will pick
Doors
your brain
always
on
open.
this because it's something that needs to be set out and something that you need not small, but you need ambassadors who actually promote the idea of having moving from this to that, because what worked here will not work here.
I don't think.
It might
Short
not,
answer.
it might
I
not.
don't think it's going to work in the future, but I'm really excited about what the future of HR could look like. Can I just
Yeah.
touch upon for 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this pod could be looking at these pods, etc. Could be looking at different things. So essentially, what sort of HR do you end up with? We all love to say HR, and it's true that the nature and the character of the organization prescribes the nature and character of the HR department, but it's going to become much more acute. So now this is going to sound really crazy, but I sort of foresee a future where, say, if you go to a career fair, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, employees won't just come up and start talking about, hey, what sort of jobs you have, what salaries you have, and what benefits do I get. I think they're going to start talking about what's your HR philosophy,
Yes.
and what are your programs,
Like I ask.
and company A's HR thing will compete aggressively with companies B HR framework, etc. And when they pick organizations, as right now, when employees pick organizations, they will also start picking on these. And in the marketplace of ideas and in the marketplace of talent, your HR department and its structure, I think, will play a much larger role in determining where good, high quality talent flows. Yes, we say that, but now I'm thinking that the external brand and the perception of the communication of your HR structures and frameworks, etc., will also play a much larger role. Which then, to your point, how do you bring about this change? Well, I don't think HR heads will bring about this change. I think CEOs will.
Nice. So now because it has to be driven from top down, right?
Because it will become an essential component of an organization's competitiveness. Now, HR loves to say that, yes, we're the competing factor in our people and all of that. Yes.
Lekin employee health meter.
Yes, but I think it's going to become more fundamental and much more acute. That the character and the nature, and not just of the department, but of the resources within the department itself also.
Yes. And we still have some way to go about that. And I hope that we are able, sitting in these roles and positions that we are in today, we are able to even bring in that some shift, that reflection, for it to become better, for it to stay relevant. But yes,
I think so. So that's why I don't think traditional HR structures are going to last very long. But don't quote me on the timeline. I said 5 to 10 years. I said
quoted.
I said 5
you
to.
are already quoted.
I was dead wrong on AI. I said 5 to 10 years on AI. I was off by a year and a half. I was off by 2 years. I was off. It came 2 years sooner than I thought it would.
Well, at least you are forecasting it.
Yeah.
At least you are forecasting it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Having you, and always I love hearing everything that you have to say, because it actually puts it puts me, and I'm sure it puts your team and people who know you into some kind of a introspection. What are we doing?
I just like thinking about these things.
Yes, and
I hope I gave you and all of you food for thought as well.
Yes.
So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming over, and especially on your holidays. Yes, so thank you so much for that. And with this, we come to an end for this particular very, very special, a very, very introspective and a very intricate episode of how AI will still be, in this era, will be still be continuing with those practices of HR. in this AI era. So yes, please do listen. Thank you so
Pods.
much. And pods. All right. See you next time.